It's Tommy Lim, and I thought that for my first video I would discuss a lot of books. Well, not a lot, like 5 books-ish that I just love. So, I guess we shall get started. First book, The Selection by Kara Klass. At first, I thought that I wasn't gonna like this book because it's not the type of book that I usually read. I was gonna say watch. You don't watch a book. But it actually caught me by surprise and I fell in love with it. It's about this girl named America Singer. I almost said the author's name by accident. And she lives in a world where there's factions. The higher up in a faction, like the 1s and 2s, is the royalty, and the lesser, like 7s and 6s, are the poor people who like do the dirty work and everything. And the prince, he is looking for a princess, so he set up this competition called The Selection, hence the name Selection. And what is it is there's 35 girls, and they're all competing for Prince, his name's Prince Maxon, to be his princess. And it's kind of like you get drafted. You sign up for it, but you get drafted into it, basically. It's kind of like the Hunger Games and that kind of part of it, because you put your name in, but there's only a certain chance that you're going to get picked. So, America Singer didn't want to do it at first, but she was pushed into it, and she signed up, and actually she got picked. And this is covered by, like, the local news. It's on everyone. Everyone wants to watch it. And she goes there, and her and 35 other girls are competing for the same guy. So it's kind of, like, very intense fights and everything. But it follows her and how her and Prince Maxon are, like, trying to fall in love, and how she starts off not liking him, and they just make a truce how they're going to be friends, and then all of a sudden she's starting to fall in love with him, but there's a problem because she likes another guy too at home. And in the book, the guy turns up at the castle. So it's kind of drama-rific, but it's a very good book, so you guys should pick this up. The Selection, Kara Klass. Very good book. Now, I'm a late bloomer on this one because everyone's been talking about it, and I guess I just sort of forgot about it for a little bit, but then all of a sudden I picked it up and I fell in love, and I understand why everyone was talking about it. It deserves a type. The Virgin. It follows this girl named Triss who lives in a world where there's 5 factions. There's the Abnegation, which are the selfless, the Dauntless, which are the brave, Erudite, which are the intelligent, Amity, which believe in peace, and the Candor, which believe in truth. And when you're 16, you take a test, and it decides what faction you're going to be in. And when you take that test, Triss, when Triss took the test, she got the result of the Virgin, which means that you can't be you're not just one faction. You have a few factions in you, and the government doesn't really like that, so she has to keep it quiet that she's the Virgin, because each faction wants you to think a certain way and wants you to do a certain thing, and if you're thinking a different way, it's kind of like a threat to the government, so she has to be quiet about it or they're gonna kill her. And she picks Dauntless, which is the brave, and she gets a lot of, when she goes into the initiation for it, she gets bullied a lot because she's Abnegation, and it's like a first, technically the second person ever from Abnegation to pick Dauntless. So she gets bullied from it, and it just follows her and her troubles, and she falls in love with one of the instructors, and it's just a great book, and I can't believe it took me this long to read it, but just a good book. Now, the next two are actually a series that I have. Well, I don't have the first one for either of them because one I got from the library and the other one I lent out. So, the first one, which is the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick. This is the last book in the series. This is the third book and the second book, and the first one is Hush Hush. And it follows this girl named Nora who one day she, in her biology class, they're learning about like the reproductive system. So the teacher decides to be cruel and switch partners up. So she's paired up with Pat Cipriano, and he irritates her to the bone. But they have to get this done. They have to get this project done. So they have to spend a little more time than she really wanted to. But she starts falling in love with him, and soon finds out that he's a fallen angel. And there's a group of people who don't like that he's dating her. And I don't even know where to begin. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of danger in this book. And it kind of looks cheesy when you first look at it, but it's actually a really good book. So, I recommend it. Well, I recommend all these books, but you know, I just keep on repeating myself. This book, everyone talks about it. Along with Divergent, this book, I guess, has equal hype and equal, like, talk about it. And the author of this book has another series that just came out in a movie, and there's so many fans, and but this personally is my favorite of her series. It's Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. This is the first one I lent to my sister, but this is the second book, and this is the third book. And it plays on your emotions so bad. Like, you'll be laughing sometimes, and then you'll be crying your eyes out. And then you'll just be very mad at it sometimes too, but it's a very good book. And it follows this girl named Tessa, who, when her aunt dies, she goes to find her brother who is in London, and she gets off a boat because it's set in 1890, so there are no planes. She can't take a plane there in 1890. And the Stark sisters tell her that they're part of something with her brother, and that they were told to bring her to her brother. Tessa, being naive, says alright, and it turns out they weren't working with her brother. And they capture her and try to manipulate her because Tessa has powers where if you hand her a certain, like, meaningful object, she could change into whoever that object was from and see their thoughts and how they're feeling and everything. So it's very, like, people want that power and they want to have it for their own. If they can't have it, like, since they don't have the power, they want to manipulate that person to do whatever they want, basically. And one day, a shadow hunter named Will Herondale comes and breaks her out and takes her to the London Institute. Now, they don't know each other, so she's kind of, like, scared that they're, like, the Dark Sisters are gonna manipulate her. But the Shadowhunters coax her into saying, like, a truce that you help me and I'll help you find your brother. So she lives at the London Institute and she's helping them, and they find the brother, and turns out he was a traitor. Like, he was working for the people who are against Tessa and are trying to, like, use Tessa. And wow, there's a whole lot of action in this, and I don't even know, there's really no words to say. It's just a very, 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 very good series, and I guess it'd be my favorite series of all time. So, this book, if you can get your hands on it, get your hands on it. It'll ruin your life, but in a good way. And now the last book, Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now this book, I was really excited for it. When I first read about it, I was so excited for it. And when I got it, the minute I opened the page, I couldn't set it down. So, if I was this girl named Katie, who her father died 3 years ago, and her mom wanted a change in her life, so they moved to West Virginia. And they moved next to a boy named Damien. And he has a twin sister, which I can't seem to think about what this sister's name is. But I guess it'll come to me in a second. But, Damien really irritates her. And they have, like, a love-hate relationship. And Katie finds out that he's an alien and there are people after him, and because he's the most powerful alien. And it's not like E.T., like, E.T. phone home. No, these are humans, but they are beings of light. And it's really hard to explain, but she is, like, in trouble now because whenever they use their powers around humans, it leaves a trace, which basically it'd be like you glowing in the dark and it would attract the enemies to you. So, but humans can't see this trace, but the aliens can. And it attracts the enemies to you, and the only way to, like, calm it down a little bit, it's still gonna glow and everything, but to lessen it is to stay near Damien. And she's not very happy about that because they irritate each other. But then they fall in love a little bit and almost basically risk their lives for each other. And it's such a good book. And it's a good book. Alright, I guess this is it. Boy.